This will be a simple physics rigid body simulation demonstration in Blender. We'll start with the original cube and we'll scale it out to create a bin. With that bin, we'll drop other cubes into it and watch how they react. To open the bin up, we'll select in edit mode the top face and delete it. That'll give us a little box that'll act as our bin. And then in order to drop the cubes in that we're gonna add, we'll create a little ledge here by extracting out on the y-axis and lifting up on the z-axis one side of it to create that ledge. And now what we'll do is we'll add a cube that will model the other cubes that will participate in this physics simulation. In order to see that the cube is reacting to collisions with the bin and with other cubes, we'll quickly set up 6 different material colors and then make sure each side of the cube has a different color that will then show a little more prominently as it reacts and rolls around. When we get to the physics part of it, we're going to go to the rigid body area of the physics tab and we're going to set the bin as a passive physics object, which means it won't start moving and reacting to gravity, but it will react to other physics objects that may collide with it, other rigid body objects. And the cube will become not a passive but an active object, which means gravity will start to take over on it and it will start to move in this particular demonstration. And then once it collides with another cube or the bin itself, it will start to react as you'd expect. We're almost done now with coloring each side of the cube, and now we'll move that cube over to the ledge itself so that when it drops on it, it will react and hopefully fall into it. In order to set this up, you very simply need to create the rigid bodies that the simulation is going to include to govern the movement. We'll start with the bin. We'll go to the physics tab, and in physics tab, click on rigid body and click passive for the rigid body type, and mesh for the collision. Mesh will allow it to precisely model where the boundaries are for the object and provide a more accurate simulation. The cube is now an active object, same collision shape, and that's it. Now the object will fall with gravity and react to any other objects that are defined as rigid bodies that it hits. In order to add a little more to this, what we'll do is we'll use an array modifier. Well, first we'll solidify the bin. To solidify the bin means to make it a little thicker, give it a little more, and that will help with collisions as well. If you ever have a collision that's falling through an object, it might be because it's too thin or the steps aren't high enough, and solidifying the object helps with that. Now what we'll do is we'll scale it down a little bit and we'll add a few more based on our cube here. We'll apply an array modifier and have an offset of 1.2 so that the cubes are separated. And then we'll add one more dimension to it by adding a second array modifier. And then what you want to do is scroll down. The second array modifier is down below. We'll change the offset so that it goes in the other dimension, and we'll bump that up a little bit to create a couple more. And now we have a bunch more cubes modeled after our initial cube. We'll apply the modifiers. When we click play to go again, you'll see that the simulation is moving all the cubes down, but not as separate objects. And that's not what we want, so there's a couple more things we need to do in order to finish that part of it. We're going to select all those cubes in edit mode, and we're going to separate by loose parts. Now you'll see there's a bunch more cubes explicitly created. And then one other thing we need to do, since that didn't do the desired effect, it's getting there but not quite all the way, you'll notice that the new objects don't have a center of gravity that is origin to their geometry. When you set each one of those now to have their own center at the origin of their geometry, each one will act independently and the cubes will fall. And that's it. I hope that helps, and thanks for watching.